Bajo in Abuja. Sirika listed some of the budgets included in the budget approval as the Abuja, Lagos, and Kano International Airports. Also briefing, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajiya Sadiya Farouk, said the Council approved 2 memoranda from our ministry, which were targeted at victims of the crime of human trafficking. She explained that the 2 memoranda will be targeting some specific agenda, including provision of assistance to victims, as well as rehabilitation and resettlement. A bill seeking to amend the 2022 Appropriation Act has scaled second reading in the Senate. The bill seeks to amend the 2022 budget by making provision for capital and recurrent expenditures without increasing budget deficit. The bill also seeks to include additional provision for the bill,
which seeks to amend the 2022 Appropriation Act in the sum of 161,499,052 naira for capital expenditure and 43,870,532,044 naira and 44 naira for recurrent expenditures without increasing the budget deficit. Highlight of the request for amendments made by the executive arm of government include the following. Number 1, funding to cushion the impact of the recent suspension of the petroleum motor spirit subsidy. Number 2, addressing the adverse implications and some changes made in the 2022 Appropriation Act that could have impact for the successful implementation of the budget.
The 2022 Appropriation Act to provide for a total sum of 106,161,499,052 naira only for capital expenditures and 43,870,592,044 naira only for recurrent expenditures and for other matters connected there with 2022 second reading taken.
Similarly, the President has again written to the Senate to amend the recently signed Electoral Act 2022. The President urged the lawmakers to consider the outright deletion of the section which calls for the resignation of political appointees before party primaries.
Electoral Act Amendment 2022 matters arising. I write with reference to the recent assent to the Electoral Act Amendment 2022 and to draw your kind attention to some salient issues contained in the Act and to seek your immediate legislative action thereon. I have carefully studied the content of the recently assented Electoral Act Amendment 2022. I must admit that there are positive provisions that could revolutionize election process in Nigeria, particularly through the introduction of new technological innovations that will in turn guarantee the constitutional rights of citizens to vote and to do so effectively. The recently assented Electoral Act has improved and engendered clarity, effectiveness, and transparency of the election process, as well as reduced the barest minimum incidences of acrimony rising from dissatisfied candidates and political parties. I therefore commend the legislative wisdom of the National Assembly, which is in line with our policy to bequeath Nigerians and posterity a landmark legal framework that paves the way for a credible electoral process that we would all be proud of. Distinguished Senate President, I, however, will want to kindly draw your attention to the provisions of Section 84, subsection 2 of the Act, which I believe constitutes a fundamental defect as it is in direct conflict with the extant constitutional provisions. Section 84, subsection 12 of the Act constitutes a disenfranchisement of serving political office holders from voting or being voted for at conventions or congresses of any political party for the purpose of nomination of candidates for any election in cases where it holds earlier than 30 days to the election. Section 84, subsection 12 of the Act provides as follows, and in courts, no political appointee at any level shall be voting delegate or be voted for at the convention or congress of any political party for the purpose of the nomination of candidates for any election. End of quote. This provision has introduced qualification and disqualification criteria that is ultra-vires the Constitution by way of importing blanket restriction and disqualification to serving political office holders of which they are constitutionally accorded protection. The practical application of Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act Amendment 2022 is to subject serving political office holders to inhibitions and restrictions referred to under Sections 40 and 42 of the 1999 Constitution.
The Bayelsa State Government has directed the chairman of the 8 local government areas to immediately set up subcommittee to work with its anti-open grazing law implementation committee to check the activities of errant herdsmen in the state. The State Deputy Governor, Senator Lawrence Ekuru-Japo, gave the directive during a meeting with a delegation of women from Otuasega community, top security officers and other stakeholders in Yenagoa. Ekuru-Japo urged the various councils to constitute the subcommittees within 1 week as part of proactive steps necessary to checkmate the encroachment of farmland and destruction of crops by cattle rearers. He also stressed the need for the State Police Command and the 16th Brigade of the Nigerian Army to set up a